Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob, and welcome to the Epileptic Gamer Podcast. Now, it didn't take long for me to make a follow-up episode on this, because I honestly think I should have seen this coming, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. I was hoping I didn't have to do this episode, but you know what? Screw it. I'm making it out of the way. It's most recent news, and I think it's going to be fun. So, Concord is now officially struggling on Steam. And for those of you that do not know what Concord is, it's a sci-fi hero shooter. And it has 16 heroes, similar to Overwatch, but not quite, even though people compare it to that. You can get it now for $40 USD. This is not sponsored, by the way, but if you want to sponsor me, hit me up, Firewalk. I'll be more than willing to talk. But nonetheless, it is a shooter on Steam that is also on PlayStation, and it is not doing good on Steam. And when I say not doing good, when it's not doing good, I mean it. At one point, it was only had 156 people playing in a game. That's in-game. So that means it's 156 people playing a match. That's not good. In no way is that good. It's not even on the top sellers list on Steam. Last I checked. It could be now. Maybe it will be whenever a Steam sale goes on. I don't know. But it's just not doing good on Steam. Which, that's okay. The only reason why I'm saying that's okay, if this was a game that was announced during the Game Awards, advertising as, hey, this is going to be on Xbox, it's going to be on PlayStation, it's going to be on Steam. That's when I would have cause for the most concern. Because that's when I would know my game is a flop. If you can't put up numbers like this on Steam, and it's on all three consoles, then no, okay, yeah, I should be worried, especially since it got announced at the biggest show of the year. But that's not what happened here. This was announced on a PlayStation State of Play, or Showcase, I think it was a Showcase. And it was announced as a PlayStation game. No Xbox, and it was basically said, hey, this is PlayStation focused. But it's going, and keyword there is but it will be on Steam. There's your hit, but it will be on Steam. Doesn't mean it's supposed to be made for Steam. And that's how we're finding out now. That is what we are seeing now. That it is not made for Steam. It is not made for computers. And that's okay. There are some games out there that release on two consoles, or platforms, I should say it. Because I call computers a console, people are going to freak out. Two platforms such as Steam and PlayStation, and some are just not meant to do well on the others. If you want to give me a perfect example, I'll give you one. Five Nights at Freddy's was destined to do well on the computer, because it was made and optimized for the computer. When they ported it over to PlayStation, one, no one knew it was even on PlayStation. Two, you can't even play it. It's hard to play. So, that's the case with Concord, in my opinion. They had full intentions on making it focused that you could use it for PlayStation. They had a big marketing around it, even Concord Central controllers, which I'm probably going to try to find one because I do like this game. But at the same time, you gotta consider the fact that, yes, it's on Steam, but the Steam numbers don't look at the entire playlist. As much as we want to see the real numbers, we can't. It also doesn't help the fact that developers are calling customers' names on Twitter, but yeah, that's not a good look. I think they need to calm down over there a bit and maybe delete some of the tweets. I hope they delete them a bit. But yeah, there's times that games are not going to be well perceived on a certain platform, and that's okay. That's allowed to happen. If it doesn't happen, that's not good. Because I should take that back. If it doesn't happen, great. That means you've made a great product that's well received on both games platforms. That's great. If it's not well received on either product, then we should probably backpedal and call it a flop. But that's not the case on PlayStation. People have it on PlayStation. People buy it on PlayStation. It was at one point ranked number 6 when it first came out, and I believe it's now 68 or 42 at the top 100 seller list. For its opening weekend, that's not bad. It didn't get too much marketing. It didn't get that many different trailers. Only now it's getting trailers. And they're hero-centric. And it's a shame that people want this game to fail. It really is. And this is why I hate some of the gaming community. I really do. Because there just needs to be a line that's crossed. You should not wish for a game to fail. That's not right. In no circumstances is that right. And if you can, that's like saying, I want a certain hockey team to fail. It's like, no, because then you're insulting an entire city. You're allowed to not like that team. That's fair. For example, you're allowed to not like Concord. That's fair. But the fact that you want it to fail and you want it to flop, that means you're shitting on a shitload of game developers that dedicated a shitload of time into this project that was the very first game that they want to make extremely successful. And more importantly, no microtransactions as of right now, and not planned until at least October. Maybe I think October. So, if you want to, you can't say the same thing with Overwatch. Overwatch had them on day one. Call of Duty had them on day one. So, tell me, make it make sense on why people want to hate on this game. This game of all the games, when they should be going to Call of Duty and calling them the hypocrite because they're putting out the same product every year. Whether it's Warzone or Zombies, it's usually the same. Whether it's multiplayer or campaign, it's usually the same. There's always a betrayal. It's always the same type of multiplayer. It's the same thing on Call of Duty. It's the same matches on Overwatch. And that's another thing that people need to look in the mirror about too. Why is it always the same game modes? Overwatch has 6 game modes. But guess what Concord has? 6 game modes. It's nothing new. There's literally nothing new about that. Games are allowed to have limited game modes. It's not a crime. It does alienate the player base a bit because they have to find a certain game that they want to play. But so what? Who cares? Who cares if it's cross-platform and that's what people use? Who gives a shit? The people that care are the ones that want the people to see it flop. And is it flopping on Steam? Yes. I will be first to admit that it's flopping on Steam. Am I enjoying the hell out of myself when I'm playing the game? Hell yeah. Because I'm a competitive person and I want to get better at the game. So give me a reason to stick up for the game, and I'm going to give you a reason to stick up for the game. Patience is a virtue, friends. Patience is a virtue that not a whole lot of people have. And if you be patient with this game, it can become something special. September is going to put Concord through the limit. It's going to push it. And this is going to be its final test of, can it survive? Because a lot of games are coming out in September. A lot. So, while it's going to struggle on Steam, we're going to see how well it's going to struggle or succeed on PlayStation. And I, for one, am hoping it succeeds on both. Just because I want this game to succeed. The winter sale is going to bring in more people for Concord. I see it going down like the $15-$20, and that's going to make people think, okay, yeah, let's try it out. I definitely think that's what's going to drive people in. The price tag didn't help. I think this could have been like a $20 game, not a $40 game, but screw it, I shell out the money. Because I always liked to see this game, and I enjoyed the hell out of the beta. So, where do I see this finishing later? I can see this doing extremely good. Hell, I can see this probably being one of the best games of next year for best multiplayer. On par with Overwatch. The developers just got to get right into it. They got to get some balancing issues into it. They got to get some you got to fix the optimization that a lot of people have. You got to fix a lot of stuff. But the fact that some people want to compare it to Redfall, which had shitload of bugs, so many bugs that it was deemed unplayable, and the game got canceled within a month, to Concord, which has very little bugs, and the only bugs that you can really count, and even then they aren't really bugs, are the fact that it's poorly, some heroes are more overpowered than others. That's a stretch. That's the ultimate. Yeah, that's a stretch. It's also kind of an insult. That's saying that this game was just in a buggy mess, and it's not. Do I think matchmaking times could be better? Absolutely, but that's not the developer's fault. That's just people not buying the game, and that's the way it's going to be for a bit. Until there's a sale on the game, that's the way it's going to be, and we'll accept that. I will accept that. But September's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how well September happens. But for now, we're going to have to live with a small player base, and that's fine. And the worst part about all this, people are always going to look back at this and say, oh, I always wanted this game to fail. If it succeeds, those same people that said, I want this game to fail, you can find them saying, I always knew this game was going to succeed. No, you didn't. You're just being a hypocrite because you were hating on Concord was the cool thing to do. And is what is infuriating at the moment. Hating on Concord is the fun thing to do on Twitter and everywhere else. And if you go on Steam, you'll see people actually give decent criticism over the game. On why they refunded the game or why they kept the game. They give decent reviews on why you should wait for a sale. And that's the perfect way of going about it. Wait for a sale, yes. Do not destroy any hopes. That doesn't even destroy a hope of people saying it's good. That makes people say, okay, this game looks good. How can I make it be good? How can I get on this eventually? I wait for the sale, like they say. I'll wait for it to be $30 or $20, and I buy it, and then I enjoy it. That gets the player base up, and that's the polite way of doing it. Not going on Twitter and complaining your ass off about it. That's not the best way of doing it, and this makes you look like an idiot. And that's the best part about it. The more you complain on Twitter, the more you're going to look like a jackass. And you're going to find yourself looking like an idiot when you say the game was meant to succeed, when it comes out that it will succeed. Like, I always say make it make sense. Now, I want to say that question to you. When are you going to make that make sense? Because that's just not going to happen to you. you're not going to be able to say, I always wanted this to succeed, when you never say it. You never once said that. So, it's just the way that PlayStation was always meant to succeed. It was. Because that's what it got announced on. It was announced on a PlayStation showcase, and there was not a whole lot of advertising on Steam. And more importantly, if you want to bring up the argument, well, no one played the beta, I don't even remember seeing an announcement that the beta was going to be free on PlayStation Plus. And I followed the Twitter account. I mean, I never once saw a single announcement that said Concord is going to be free on for your beta if you have PlayStation Plus. I didn't remember that. So why should I care? Why should I bring myself to say, oh, well, that's dead on arrival? It's not dead on arrival. People just decided to hate on a game and call it a day, which is stupid. It is so stupid. And that's just the way the player base is now for gaming, and it sucks. It sucks that the player base for gaming is just toxic now. And the bad part is, it's never going to change. Once they find a game to hate, they will hate on that game until they find another game to hate. It's the way of life. It's group mentality. And people feel like if they're not part of something, then they have to get in on it. Then they won't be the cool kids that they always wanted to be. So, that is all for this episode about the Gamer Podcast. I think this is a very good episode. It points out a lot of decent stuff that, yeah, it was meant to fail on Steam because it was not a Steam game. That's just plain and simple. It wasn't made to be on Steam. It was a PlayStation Studios game, so it's supposed to succeed on PlayStation, and it is. At one point, it was number 6 on the most hot list. So, take that as you will. I don't know what it is now, but I know it's doing good. And if you want to count the Steam numbers as the actual numbers, be my guest, but that's the farthest thing from the truth. If I can get into a game relatively fast, I think you guys need to all grow up. But that is it for me, everybody. I have to get this thing optimized. I have to get a whole lot of shit done with the podcast. So I will see you all in the next episode. My name is Jacob, also known as the Uplifted Gamer, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.